I just wish you'd tell me why you have such a fucking problem with me. I have a problem with you because you're trash. And you know that you're trash. You're a piece of fucking shit, okay? I shouldn't have to tell you this stuff. That's what pisses me off the most. I shouldn't have to fucking tell you that you're trash. And you know you're fucking trash. Dude, you don't have to get like that. I'm just saying, like... No. It's just you're phony. That's it. And that's kind of what pisses us all off the most. The whole crew. You and your fucking phoniness. You understand me? It's just... Who's us? That's all I said. I don't understand because it's just me and you. And there's no us, this imaginary fucking thing. So do you have a problem with me? Dude. Okay. I don't think you understand, okay? Me, G-May, and Jeannie J are all fucking pissed off at you. Because we all see that you're fucking phony. And yet you fucking don't. And that's what I was trying to tell you the other day. And you're sitting there like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're fucking phony and you know it. And that's enough for me to understand what a piece of shit you are. Okay? And that's why the whole motherfucking crew don't like you. Okay, well, I like the fact that you like to hurt me right before I start recording. So, thank you for that one. Here we are once again, and I want to tell you a couple things. What are those things I want to tell you? Even I don't fucking know. Wow, man. Ain't life such a fucking trip? Sometimes when you think about it. It is pretty fucking trippy. Some of the things we get up to and just the things we feel. How we express them. What goes through our day to day. All the fucking stuff that happens in every way. It's pretty nuts, man. Like just sensation and feeling alone. I feel like we don't take that seriously. You know what I mean? I feel like we don't. We're just like, yeah, and you feel emotions and feelings and it's how to handle them and you live a life. And it's just weird that people simplify something so vastly and deeply connected to something they'll never understand. That's what sometimes I don't know how to like get that across to somebody. It isn't just a thing, you know, a feeling happening to you and then you act upon it or it's invoked by a memory or trigger. Like, yes, it is that. But what's behind that? As I've been looking more and more into this shit, the more I'm fucking fascinated with it. Absolutely fascinated. So I've been reading a lot. I just got this book, I don't know, I think thriftbooks.com. Sometimes they'll say like, oh, you know, you bought enough books, you get one for free as long as it's under $5. And I got this. And I've been because it said the word Celtic wisdom, I was like, I don't know what that is. Let's get it. And I didn't read because it's hard to read it in here. But it says a Celtic shaman's source book. And I was like, whoa, I didn't realize I got one of those. And it's really fucking cool. It really is. Believe whatever you want. I don't even give a shit anymore sometimes. But it's filled with stories. A little bit of an analogy before the story, then it allows you to go into the story and sense it for yourself. Then you come out, and it goes into different themes. So, and each theme is its own chapter. So, for instance, you have part 1 is the shamanic memory, which goes under, each one would be of earth, of trees, of animals, and of ancestors. Part 2 is vision poets, druids, shamanic guardians. And then we have initiations, shape-shifting, druids and vision poets. And then you have part 3, which is the bright knowledge. And that is prophecy and divination, healing and self-restoration, dreams and visions. And then the last part is otherworldly journey. And this is the journey quest. And then the next one is in the house of this, I'm assuming it's the she. Ooh, S-I-D-H-E. And it's fucking interesting. And it's written by Man, it's like, I'm sorry, it's hard to read. I don't know if you can like tell. Like it's written down there because it's written in the same color as that design pattern. So I'm like fucking trying to. Caitlin and John Matthews. I know nothing of these people. I don't even know who they are. Never heard of them. But judging by the few chapters that I've dove into in this book and taken some notes, rather interesting, and it does kind of touch with something deep within. To which there's a chapter in here that kind of makes mention of it that I don't think we talk about enough, and that's the memory of the ancestors. One very interesting thing in our modern world that we can kind of grasp slightly is that Assassin's Creed game. Series, I should say, where the basis of it is you go into your ancestors' memories, and there's a lot of purpose and a lot of story behind it. But essentially, you go to the past through your ancestor and relive that. And I think they're after pieces of Eden and all this story stuff, and that's video game things. And that got me thinking when that first came out. Assassin's Creed 2 was the first one I played. And ever since then, I was like, damn. And I love the idea of there was in the game precursors, they would call them, and those would be the people that we would consider gods, like Minerva and Jupiter and all this and that. Roman gods are those names. But the Roman and Greek gods are actually people that existed, that created mankind to enslave them, and then they were wiped out by some sort of like solar flare or whatever it was, and then they're remnants of civilization. And they have all these pieces of Eden that the Catholics will be after, you know, that's the staff that stabbed Christ, that's the Holy Grail, that's the fucking Apple of Eden, and you know, all this shit. All of that. And they built it into such a really fun way. Anyway, back to reality. I was like so fascinated by that concept. I was like, damn, I really like that. And a lot of the times when you find something, it'll hook you on to a train of thought, and then you go chasing, right? Doesn't make it right or wrong, and that's what's kind of scary about it. You can go down a rabbit hole and think you're God. You can go down a rabbit hole and think, you know, you can go anywhere. Then the deeper you go, the more schizophrenic you sound, essentially. But I try to stay based in reality as much as possible. And of late in my life, I've been learning a lot more about my past. I've talked about it. I know a lot of people are afraid of the DNA kits and stuff. I mean, I don't really give a fuck. You can use that to create a perfect, you know. What are they? I'm trying to think of the conspiracy theories. Like they're gonna like create the perfect sickness for you because they have your DNA and they know exactly how to get it. You know, I don't know. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. This is a material world. But when I learned about the Irish in my blood, and it made me feel really proud, and I went on this whole thing ever since then, and I learned a lot. I learned that my people came from Munster. And they lived most likely in the Barrow Peninsula, very south. Very, very south of Munster. Near the fucking water, man. And most likely they had moved to that point. And because I don't know that family, because it's my mother's father, they abandoned her. So I don't know any of these people. But I still feel the strong connection to the Irish. And suffice to say, most likely, they left because of the Great Famine. I mean, famine, right? It's more of a genocide, but we'll call it a famine because it's, you know, it's not as, whatever. Does that piss me off in deep down? Fuck yeah, man. Like when I was dwelling on that one day, I was just like fucking God, I get so fucking pissed about that shit. I really do. I think the Irish people, man, not only are they the greatest people, but they've endured the worst. And they're fucking strong about it, which is really cool. It's really fucking cool. They don't go like, I don't know. You look at the modern world, you look at people that bitching. Look at them, you know. And I love that. And I love that part of my heritage, and I'm fucking proud every single day to know that I have that Irish DNA. Some Irishman who lived in that land and dwelled there. Most likely thousands of years. At least that's what it says. I don't know how accurate this stuff is. But if that's fucking awesome. That's really cool. But as I've been learning this stuff, I was like, okay. Meanwhile, kind of separate and before, I was really honing in on the book. I was like, I had all the lore I was making, I had all the peoples, the stories, and I just had it all there, but I was sensing some strange theme. And then I was like, what the hell is this strange theme? And it was really obsessed with the dream world, the other world, and I didn't call it the other world at the time. I always just called it the dream world because I didn't give it a cool name, and now I'm stuck with it. But anyway, and I had this whole thing of you journey into this place, and this place is part of the mind, and inside of that mind is the way you can interact with God, but through the memory of self and ancestry. And then inside of that, you can find sources, and you can do all this crazy shit. There's memories locked inside of stones. There's memories locked inside of trees. There's all this crazy ass shit about like the way that the world works and everything. And essentially, I started realizing it mirrored, like, you know, quote, because it's a huge branch term here, Celtic mythologies and like their kind of weird spiritual nature and all this kind of strange stuff. And I was so fascinated by it. I'm like, oh my God, it mirrors it exactly. I'm doing something that's deep down feeling right, and it comes out as something part of my ancestry. So I thought, well, let's roll with it. And so I've been really studying a lot of Celtic stuff. You've probably seen it. If you've watched a lot of these videos, you see my little attempts at it. I got all these books I've been getting and trying to learn about these people, learn about the mythology and stuff. And inside of that, I've been learning a lot about their plight, if you will. You know, like you have this culture that's just wiped out by Christianity. And then you have these fucking Vikings coming in. And then you have the English, you know, the Anglo-Saxons and stuff. And then they're just endured. And they took the fragment of their fucking being. They took the fragment that was, everything was obliterated. All their shit, man. Their druids, their belief systems, in a sense. And they had only a scraps left, man, from Christianity. And when those Christians forced them to be Christian, they just placed it inside of it. At least the Irish did. And then you have that. So it's like in some sense, like, okay, you're going to force something on me. I'm going to make it in some sense work with what we know. I'm super proud of that because that's resiliency. In the face of fucking tyranny, you found a way to hide self inside of it. So keeping that in mind, I thought, I'm far removed from being Irish. Based upon the percentage of my DNA, it's my grandfather who was the Irishman. I don't know if he came over or his father. No clue, because they just disappeared. From the 1920s, I can't find any records. So they either came in the 1920s or before that, and it's just, I don't know. I have no idea. They came to New York, that's all I know. Now, in saying that, I'm trying to channel the best I can with my heritage. I know very little of the Irish, so it's a hard process. And I really don't like the fact that I can't go and look at that land, man. I want to go home, you know? But the thing that I'm trying to do is what they did for themselves to fight back in some sense. Because everyone they don't like to take this side of it, but man, you have people coming in and forcing shit on you. It wasn't like, and we were all okay with this. And St. Patrick came along and it was fantastic. Some people probably allowed to say that, and then most people agree to it because it's safe. But there are a group of people that didn't want that shit, clearly. And I'm channeling those ones. And as I keep the blood in myself activated, I work through the memory of the ancestors as much as I possibly can. I'm not a fucking pagan. You know what I mean? I'm not doing magic occult shit here or whatever. I'm just trying to channel what I consider the ancestry. And the best way I can explain that is just eliminate ego and just be. And when I started discovering some of the weird little synchronicities that are based upon my stream of consciousness, that's when I found the ticket. And I found that you can transcend into the other world through the stream of consciousness, which allows you to be inside the, what did Jung call it? The something unconscious, the great unconscious, or some shit like that. That's what it is. It's like a pool. It's another world. So when you turn off self and you go egolessly through this place, you're just data collecting in a sense. So when you're writing, at least that's how I do it because I'm a writer, I just data collect. I just like throw it in here, and a lot of times my own novels, I'll sit and be like, what the fuck is this? What does that mean? I don't even know what the hell happened. And it takes me months. I mean, I finished book 2 months ago, but I'm still trying to unravel the weird shit I pulled out from the unconscious. I'm still fucking confused. And I've been studying this whole fucking time, and I still don't I don't know who is that guy and how is he connected to all this? And it's a whole ass process. But I believe that's the way to access through them, because they are the guardians that lie in the memories. Beyond the memories comes the source of the things you're looking for. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, and I'm so new at it that I'm not going to sit here and give you a guide and instruction, because I don't fucking know. I might be making this all up. I don't know. And that's the beauty of it. It's so ethereal that when it's all happening, even I'm like, is this real or am I making all this up? I don't know. Most people will probably tell me I am. Why wouldn't they? They're not in here. So in some sense, that's what makes it difficult, but it's where the beauty lies. It's so enjoyable to go into this stuff. And I'm sure there's ways of channeling certain ancestors, probably, right? Because you're creating a mantra system, and maybe you can kind of, especially if you knew them and they'd allow you through a door, but sadly I don't know any of my Irish family. Sadly. You know, it kind of sucks. It really does. I never really had a grandfather, and he would have been mine, and that would have been awesome, you know? So it's just been a process of that nature. And finding this book, randomly picking it up because I just had the free book to get, and I saw the word Celtic, and I just grabbed it and said, fuck it, it's cheap. And as I've been really looking through it, there's a lot of crazy, crazy fucking things that when they talk about it, it blows my fucking mind. For instance, shapeshifters. Entering the other world in that shape, and it kind of works in terms with my vessel idea, where I'm like, if you go into the other world, you need to create a vessel to be the vehicle that allows you in. And it's like, well, you create these shape-shifting things. So I think one of the examples was like the stag and shamans using that to enter into like a spirit form. It's like a nature animal thing. You channel nature and the animals to create the object. Because this is how your mind works. You need to create things for it to do things. So if I'm trying to go some ethereal fucking place in my imagination, I need to create an imaginary vessel to allow me to into that. And I'm just learning this now. And it's going to be so crazy when I start working in the book with this. But it says, these people that have the 2 sights, spirit form may be used to access this place. And you can use it for a variety of different purposes. And one of the crazy things was when they spoke about, in a sense, you kind of live with a secondary being that takes on your shape and lives amongst you, but you can't see him. And I believe that there's probably some allegory for the unconscious, is what they're trying to say. Like there's you and then there's another you. And this other you, sometimes when it comes forth, it signals your death. And because it's coming forth and signaling your death, we've confused that for so long that we think that it was some weird superstition. But I believe that it might be like I'm saying, you go to the other world, you find this crazy shit, what did Jung call it? An ego death, I think is what he said. I think it's just that in their way. A lot of Celtic shit, man. It's way ahead, I mean, not ahead of its time. It was just, we're finding it again. Now, there's a lot of weird fucking shit too of, as I said, using the vessels to enter the other world. And these vessels can be of animal nature or things of that quality, but there's a lot of the idea of using water as a sense to go to this place. And they talk about Turigan, a fluid transmigration of the soul from form to form, so that's what we're talking about. And the shapeshifter creates a bridge for the soul to pass between one soul shrine and into another. And soul shrine is what they call the body. I don't know who they is, it's just written here. And they can bridge these different dimensions, and then the denizens, they can either become the denizens of the other world, or meet them, and then those denizens are the guardians of memory. Now that's really fucking crucial, because that literally explains my book before I even fucking read that. As I was sitting there like, you go into a vessel that allows you to go to the other world, and from that point are denizens of that place, which safeguard the memory and the knowledge. That's literally the book. So it's like, it kind of blew my fucking mind. I'm like, okay, whether it's just Caitlin and John, I don't know, it's an Irish looking name, it's probably something different. Whether these two just sat down and made this shit up for fun, doesn't matter, because they must have been tapping into something too. Because I am finding this as well. And that's what how I look at it. Like, you could say, like, they're just making it up and they're fucking around and this and that. But in reality, I'm like, nah, I don't know, man. I think we can tap into this. I think you tap into the ancestry. We're just afraid of that because you can't pinpoint it. You can't prove with logic. You can't, like, write some fucking thesis about it and everyone's like, yes, that's good because the archaeological evidence and, you know, all that dumbass shit. You can't really do that, so we like to write it off because we're stupid that way. As if there's a whole nother part of your mind that we're afraid to unlock because you can't quantify it. Because it's unquantifiable. Because that's the fucking point of it. And like, it's so, man, I get irritated with humans sometimes when they do dumb shit like that. There's only one way, and that's the scientific way. Analyzation. But yes, there's the guardians that can transmit secrets. Brings treasures, blah, blah, blah. But I thought a lot of this stuff, as I've been reading it, I'm like, damn, dude. That's it. And it spoke about, I don't know if it was FIFA or something, but it spoke about this aspect that St. Patrick was said to have used. It was like some sort of stag, right? This is what's interesting. Now, that's kind of a concept that they would use in this weird shamanic stuff. And then I remembered my dream where I killed that shapeshifter. This is what blows my mind here, okay? I can interpret it any way I want because I don't know what it's trying to say, but here's one way I could interpret it. Okay, so it says here, Fifth Fath is how it's written, but it's pronounced Fifa. Calls upon the power of God to protect them and shield them against numerous enemies, among whom are mentioned the spells of women, smiths, and druids. It ends with a magical invocation of Christ in every direction surrounding them. Fifa, sometimes also called Fathfith, which is backwards, translates as deer aspect, which is, interestingly, the early Irish name given to St. Patrick's breastplate. The Fi Fara, no clue, often mistranslated as the deer's cry. This seems to have been a particularly specific charm to render someone into a deer shape. Although, Carmelax, some guys' research suggests that men might also be transformed into a horse or bull, women into a cat or hare. That little tiny sentence there made me realize when I fought that aspect, that shapeshifter, you can go two ways here. Either I purged some sort of Christian thing in me, or I embraced it. Because if St. Patrick puts the breastplate on himself, it allows him to be in the deer aspect. If I'm reading that correctly, or he would give it to someone so they would be in it. And I go in there and I kill it in that dream. I murdered that shape-shifting deer. That crazy ass dream that I had that stuck with me forever. Did I kill that element of why I can't find Christianity anymore? Why I always see something dark lurking underneath it? Because I killed some aspect inside of self? The being that was pleased after the fight between me and that shape-shifting deer. The being that was very pleased. Was that myself? Was that the God within me? Or was that something different? I don't know. But it is very interesting. If you want to know what dream I'm talking about, I think I made a video called The Prophetic Connection or something. I don't remember. Where I talked about the dream. I'll put a link and you can watch it so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And keeping in mind this idea of this deer aspect. No, St. Patrick used it to protect himself. I don't know if that means he must have put it on himself, so he made himself into this deer aspect and like, well then what's what I killed? I don't know though. And this guy had black hair, dark black hair, and a black, like, short beard or goatee. It was hard to tell. I don't know, man. I really don't know how to feel about that, but that is very interesting as something that's kind of happened in my life that I did not plan. In that dream, it changed my fucking life, that dream did. It threw me into a new level. It's so weird. I don't know how to explain. Imagine having a dream that changes your life. And it has. Not changed my life in a material way where now I have more wealth. Now I have more, I don't know, shit like that. I don't have nothing to show for it, but it's all here in my head. And that's that thing I'm trying to talk about within the ancestry. If I would never have geared myself onto these chains here, of this belt that goes around this system, these pulleys, if you will, then I would never have spotted it in such a way. When I had that dream, I wasn't fully into the idea of the Celtic anything. I just thought that was a strange dream about a shape-shifting deer and this and that. But when I started searching, when I started finding things about Krununos, which confused me, when I started finding things out about, oh my God, what the hell's that guy's name? Damn it! Gwyneth Need, the Gwyneth Need guy. When I started looking at all that stuff, I'm like, is that air? I don't know. And then, you know, people will say, well, those are all demonic things, and that was probably a demon that you faced, and this and that. I'm like, I don't know about a demon, man. It might have been. But then I just realized this with St. Patrick, and it's so weird. I don't like St. Patrick. I don't even know the guy. You know what I mean? But there's just something about what he did that I just fucking don't like. According to the legends, he went and destroyed all their mythologies in the mythological way, you know, and he forced Christianity into Ireland. And for some reason, I don't hear that and go, that's cool. Very interesting. I should be an Irish Catholic. I just heard that and went like, fuck that, dude. That sounds fucked up to me. That's written in such a way where it's kind of tricky to think he's a good guy. I don't like this. Oh, but he got rid of all the snakes. Isn't that what they said? I don't remember. And I'm like, I don't trust that shit. I've been in this modern world and I know how propaganda works. I know how people like to trick themselves. So I don't want to fucking participate in ancient propaganda. So that was my fear of it, right? It might be a stupid fear, but it was a fear nonetheless. So what I have to do is always trust in my heritage. I have to trust in my DNA, in a sense. A modern word, but in reality, the ancestry. Trust in that. They will guide me to the right place in the right time. And I have that dream, and I killed that foe, and all of a sudden I'm here, and I'm in a whole new tier of my understanding. It's amazing how that shit works. And I feel so grand knowing that that's what we're on about. That's what we're doing. This is the point of it all. But it's finding how to put that into the book. That's what's difficult, and that's the journey now. And so when I look at the Celtic wisdom and I find things that mirror, it lets me know I'm on the right path. Because the feeling that I like the most, because it's very intuitive, it's very helpful, is doubt. That can be intuitive and helpful, but it can also trick you. If you have too much doubt, then you don't believe what could be true and is true, but yet you doubt it. So it's a very fickle fucking emotion that you have to, when you enter it, you have to really be careful with what it makes you do. So all along the way, I could be doing this and like, I doubt that. There's only Christ. He's the only one. Like, I could totally do that and gear my mind that way and say like, that's it. And I close all the other doors and say, nope, there are no doors to close. This figure is all that matters. But instead I'm saying, I'm going to close that door and we're going to go this way. And we're going to discover self. And the journey, I know that everyone's got this idea of like modern Christianity, but in my mind, I'm like, I don't need a savior. I don't need to not, oh my God, I can be okay because he died for my sins and all I got to do is accept him. So he becomes my vessel. Then I can go through his idea. Like, I don't want that. I want to know who I am. I don't want to be told who I am. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what man does with Christ. I'm not saying it's what Christ wants, but it's what man does with him. And I don't want to play man's game. I'm sick of it. I want to know about my people, myself. And that journey has been very, very hard to navigate because, like I said, a lot of it's just been wiped out by the Romans, by the Christians, by the English. You know, they all want to subdue something that they're not because they have this mentality. I guess nowadays we call it a colonializing mentality, but that's true. They have this mentality of like, you're weak because you aren't doing what we're doing, and that makes you dumb. And we have the right way. We're just going to make you do it because it's best for you. We're doing it for you. Like that dumbass shit. And that's the thing I've always been like, well, fuck that. Because in my life when that happens, it's a bunch of fucking lies. And I don't want to fall for any more lies. But because I'm going this route, their shit was burned, wiped out, altered, changed in some way. Or plain old forgotten because they did it orally. So it's like you're going through scraps. And these scraps are scattered all around the world. But there's a decent amount that's still stuck within us. You can't get rid of that. And that's the fucking truth. They're trying to fill us with some other being. With some other way. And I don't want to play. So I can find the self within me. And that'll allow me to finally see that which hides in plain sight. I just don't know necessarily that I can map this out. So like if someone else is remotely interested in this and wants to do it too, I'm not going to be like, and then here's the way. Like, I don't know, man. Like, that's all you. And that's the point. But it's very, very interesting. It really is. And I'm so proud to be going on this journey. And I'm so happy that it's changed my life for the better. It's challenged my thoughts. Instead of just accepting, like just accept things. Like it's making me go, no. Because I'm going to leave you with one last thing. The older I get, the longer I've been doing all this, the more I realize that I know nothing. And so does everyone else. We just pretend we know because science says, my religion says, my culture says. You know, we all believe something because a collective group all made themselves feel okay with the idea. And it might be right or it might be wrong. And that now we know. We know the Big Bang. We know about this culture. Hellstat. We know. You know, all this stuff, whatever. The ancient Egyptians. A collected thought process that allows a group of people to agree upon and bicker and fucking fight about something. Was Christ alive or dead? Who was this Pharaoh that we found in this tomb? To how was the universe created? To is Christ coming back or not? You know, groups, thought forms. It takes on its own life and belief system and it becomes its very own. It is true in the ones that see it through. Because I've separated myself from the consciousness of concepts, I'm beginning to realize that I don't know anything, and nor does anyone else. They just regurgitate either something someone said, or a bunch of other people said, and they kind of took that and Frankensteined it with some of their ideas, but also with this book, and then I like that one part of that video game, you know, or whatever, and they create, okay, boom. And I believe it. Because I found all these things. And I'm doing that too. But the one thing I keep telling myself is you can't truly know anything. Ever. There's no way. So I'm always met with that wall of like, oh man, you know, you're going through your ancestry, you're covering a truth. And what does it mean? And I'm just like, I don't know. I have no idea. I think I might, but I don't know. And what I'm trying to say is because I'm being met with that, I found a way to egolessly walk through this world to say, I know nothing. I've gathered things and I can channel stuff sometimes. Like if you need help, I can channel to help you, but I don't know. I don't even know who I am. I don't even know what I am. And in saying that, it allows me to open myself outside of thought concepts. I could sit in a room full of, I don't know, man, Muslims, let's say, and they could all sit me down and give me this beautifully constructed argument of believing in their faith. 15 people, and they all did it in such a convincing way. Not like they're wrong, but I'm saying they did a great job at pleading their case. And I say, that's fucking, yes, I could see it because I have empathy. So as they're seeing that, I'm like, damn, yeah, I can see why you believe all this. This is it. Of course you would come to this conclusion. It doesn't mean I go, and then yeah, clearly I'll believe it too now. I always just say, and that's fantastic, but I don't know what that means. Because we put all these man constructs on it. And it becomes so rigid, because if I don't understand something, why don't I put the way my brain works into it so I can understand it? That's what we always do. And so I'm like, well, that's all you're doing. You're just making the way your brain works, throw it inside of this, and magically it works. That's called magic. So as I think of that, that's why I stay on the outside. You could sit me down. I got the Summa Theologiae, a book written by, man, I can't read that far, Thomas Aquinas. I could read that cover to cover and say, God damn it, is he fucking onto it, man? Like, yes, that sounds so right. I close that damn book, I avert my eyes away, and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't know though. Because I broke myself from the spell. What I'm doing right now is casting my own spell, in a sense, if you want to kind of term it this way, where I'm channeling the idea of not allowing oneself into a thought form. It's a very difficult thing to do. It really is, because they're fucking everywhere. Sometimes I'll go on Reddit, and I don't have an account, but I like to use it to keep tabs on little things that I like. But because I don't have an account, the weird shit that pops up, and I see people really wanting to believe hard. Really wanting to I want to believe this. There's an election coming up. And they really want to believe that Trump's evil. They really want to believe that, what's that woman's name? Kamala? Something or other. You know what I'm saying? And there's all these little articles that are trying to convince themselves, like, look, they are the Antichrist. This is the bad thing. They're evil. Nazis. You know. And I just read it and it makes me laugh. I'm like, man, it's so weird they fall for all this shit. It's so weird. And they don't fucking see it. Wow. Votes, I'm not saying I'm a voter for anybody, because it's all fucked. It's stupid. My point is, it's just, holy fuck do we allow the games to play in our head. But here's one thing I can say, because I'm not a hypocrite, or it might be wrong. I have no idea. It feels that way, but I might be wrong. I might just be a fucking fool in the dark. Little hermit over here, trying to figure life out, and I walked into a spiral on accident, and I am stuck in this whirlpool. Doesn't feel that way, but, you know, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say, like, it could very well be. Because I'm sure I said some things that some people are going to be like, absolutely not. And I'll just have to say, well, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, I gotta get going. We got a lot of things to do today. I will see you in the next one. Maybe next week I'll have that forgotten video ready to go. But we'll see.